This is the tent that let me beat a summer storm by minutes and sit under a dry roof before the first drop hit. I went from trunk to shelter in roughly 7 minutes without frustration, in fading light. I put the Coleman Steel Creek 6-person tent in the car camping category, and it's best for small families or a couple with a dog who want fast setup and a bug-free hangout space. It's not a backcountry shelter, and it's not the tent I reach for when a multi-day storm is locked in. It shines when the plan is easy weekend camping, warm weather trips, and campsites where airflow and convenience matter as much as sleeping capacity. Design choices here actually impact daily use, for better and for worse. The frame uses a fast-pitch hub with color-coded, pre-attached poles. That means I don't have to play the which sleeve does this go in game or chase pole segments across the dirt. The steel legs give the tent a planted feel, while the flexible roof poles help it absorb gusts instead of fighting them. The screened porch is the defining feature for me. It's not just a vestibule, it functions like a mudroom and a bug-proof lounge. 2 camp chairs and a small coffee table fit comfortably, and I can keep muddy boots and wet jackets out there so the sleeping cabin stays clean. The main room has a tub floor that runs a few inches up the walls and inverted seams, which actually matters when the ground gets saturated. Ventilation is excellent. There's a lot of mesh up top and generous windows with small awnings, so I can keep a trickle of air moving even when there's a light drizzle. The center height is around 5'8", which means I can stand up straight in the middle, but I'm ducking as soon as I move toward the walls. If you want straight cabin-style walls for standing height everywhere, this isn't that. Inside, there are enough storage pockets to get phones, glasses, and headlamps off the floor. And the light interior fabric helps bounce lantern light so the space doesn't feel gloomy. Setup is where the tent earns its spot. I lay it out, unfold the pre-attached frame, and extend the legs until I hear those reassuring clicks. The body takes shape quickly. Then I stake corners and tension lines. The screen room needs proper staking or it sags inward, so I spend an extra minute dialing that in. Getting the Rainfly over the peak is straightforward for me, though I can see shorter users needing a second person to help toss it over in wind. Buckle-on corners make it easy to tension the fly tight. The difference between a sloppy pitch and a crisp one is a few guy lines, especially on uneven ground. The pattern I've learned is to set it up fast, then take 2 more minutes to fine-tune. Here's where performance really matters. In steady rain, the main sleeping cabin stays dry. The inverted seams and welded corners do what they're supposed to do, and the tub floor prevents those classic corner leaks. In wind-driven rain, the screened porch becomes the weak link. The fly covers the porch roof, but doesn't come far enough down the sides, so water can blow through the mesh. The porch floor has a little drainage section near the door that lets water out, but if your site puddles or the soil is saturated, that strip also lets moisture and mud creep in. I treat the porch as an outdoor area in a storm, not a dry storage room. Inside the main cabin, condensation is minimal because there's enough airflow to create a chimney effect. Cooler air comes in low, humid air escapes through the mesh roof under the fly. That airflow is great in summer, but it offers zero help on cold nights. This isn't a tent that traps heat. I rely entirely on my sleeping bag rating when temperatures drop. On wind, the structure flexes, which is good. I've sat through gusts in the 20 to 25 miles per hour range. The legs hold, the roof bows and springs back, and the tent doesn't feel sketchy. The trade-off is noise. The porch fabric flaps loudly if I don't tension it perfectly, so I take time to angle guy lines and keep fabric from drumming. Upgrading the default stakes to sturdier ones helps a lot, especially in harder soil or wind-exposed sites. Real trips tell the truth. One run started with a late arrival and a rain cell on the radar. I parked, unrolled, clicked the legs, threw the fly, and got it staked before the drizzle turned into rain. The sleeping cabin stayed bone dry that night, while the porch collected spray through the mesh. That's where I kept the muddy boots anyway, so no harm, but I moved electronics and soft bags inside. Another weekend was peak mosquito season by the lake. The porch was perfect for coffee and breakfast without turning into a bug buffet. I set 2 chairs there, a small cooler as a table, and enjoyed the airflow with zero buzzing near my face. On a clear night, I pulled the fly off, and the full mesh roof turned the cabin into a stargazing bubble. That's the kind of moment this tent is great for. For capacity, the label says 6, but I use it as a 3 or 4 person shelter. One queen air mattress fits, with comfortable space left over for duffels and a dog bed, plus a path to the door. 2 queens technically fit, but it becomes a wall-to-wall mattress with no walkway. The height is workable for changing clothes near the center. Then you're crouching near the edges. None of that ruined the experience for me. It's just realistic sizing, instead of the optimistic numbers printed on the box. Day to day, the Porch is the big lifestyle upgrade. It's basically an airlock for dirty gear. The psychological benefit is also real. Being able to sit in open mesh, feel connected to the campsite, and not be eaten alive by mosquitoes makes afternoons and evenings more enjoyable. I also like the small awnings over the windows. I can crack the zips during light rain and keep air moving without inviting water inside. At night, those details keep the air from getting stuffy, and I wake up to less condensation on the ceiling. There are definite quirks. The plastic C-clips that connect the tent body to the poles are the weakest parts of the build. Treat them gently during setup, especially in cold weather when plastic gets brittle. I carry a couple of zip ties as a just-in-case fix, though I haven't needed them yet. The zipper cuffs over the door add weather protection, but love to catch in the zipper slider. Using 2 hands to guide the flap while zipping prevents jams. Trying to yank it one-handed usually ends with fabric stuck in the teeth. The carry bag is my least favorite part. It's tight to the point of silly. If I don't fold the tent to the exact width and roll it like a burrito while kneeling to squeeze the air out, the zipper fights me. My solution was simple. I started using a slightly bigger duffel for the tent body and kept poles and stakes in the original bag. Packing stress solved. A specific use case that sold me on the design was a 2-night family camp with a dog after a rainy week. The campsite was damp, the ground was soft, and the forecast promised scattered showers. I pitched on the highest, flattest patch I could find, added a footprint that extended under the porch, and ran extra guy lines. The main cabin stayed dry, the porch stayed muddy but manageable, and the dog happily slept in the screened area where he could watch the chipmunks at sunrise without waking us up. Morning coffee in the porch, bug-free, was the moment I realized how much I value that extra space, even if it's not rainproof. There are a few smart touches worth calling out. The color-coded frame and pre-attached poles genuinely cut setup time and reduce thinking when I'm tired or racing the weather. The reflective guy lines are easy to spot with a headlamp, which has saved more than one midnight trip hazard. The fabric is thicker than backpacking tents, so it feels more forgiving around dogs and kids, and doesn't feel like it'll tear from a casual scuff. It's not a blackout tent. Sunlight wakes me up earlier, and the cabin warms quickly once the sun hits, which I actually appreciate on chilly mornings. On hot afternoons, I lean on that airflow and keep the windows cracked under the awnings to keep it from turning into a sauna. Stepping back, the story of this tent is about speed and livability balanced against weather trade-offs. Fast setup, excellent ventilation, and a genuinely useful screened porch are the reasons to get it. The porch's limited rain protection, the fussy door zipper, and the too tight carry bag are the things I plan around. I keep my expectations realistic. I treat the porch as a fair weather lounge and mudroom, not a dry gear closet during a storm. I bring better stakes, a footprint that includes the porch area, and I fold with intent when it's time to pack. If you're a casual camper who values a quick, low-stress pitch, wants to keep the sleeping zone clean, and mostly camps in moderate weather, this is an easy tent to live with. If you need a vestibule that stays 100% dry in sideways rain, or you're camping on exposed ridgelines, look for a full coverage fly and be prepared for slower setup and less airflow. For me, on most summer and shoulder season trips, the Steel Creek nails the balance I want. If you found this video helpful, subscribe for more hands-on reviews and leave a comment with your camping setup tips or questions.